Hello, everyone. Welcome to It's Sybil. I am Sybil Wilkes, and I wish that we hadn't started so that he would just have to hold his arms like this forever in order to make whatever point he's trying to make. It is already over the top Tuesday behind the scenes. So thank you all for joining us. Welcome back, Damon.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Sybil. Hello.
How you doing?
I am great, man. I'm really glad to be back. I tried to get on last week, but it didn't work out.
You were at
Uh,
sea.
yes, I was out in the water, and I don't pay for the package for the internet on my phone, but my wife can't be without hers, so I'm not paying $225 twice
Oh
to go
no.
on social media. Yeah, so
Oh no. No way.
unfortunately, yeah, the days didn't line up for the port with the free Wi-Fi. But I love you guys. I'm glad to be back.
Yeah, we love you too, and we're glad you're back and you are back out on the road.
Yeah, I landed Sunday and Monday I was here in Martha's Vineyard. So we'll be here. The shows go until August 18th. And so next week I'll be broadcasting live from here as well. The first opening night show was last night. It turned out really great. And see, my wife didn't come directly here because women, you got to change your
And
luggage
do
around.
some things,
Yeah,
yeah.
I just had to take out the drawers and put in some different drawers.
Yeah, put in new
Set,
draws and let's go. We good.
set, drawers and socks on the road.
We have to do some flipping and some exchanging and yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely,
Because this
absolutely.
boat outfit is not going to go with Martha's Vineyard outfits. Two totally different outfits. Can't have we can't have both.
yep.
So Damon, tell people about the shows because there was some confusion about the comedy shows. If you would explain to people that you are
Yeah,
there and you're running things now.
right. Well, just so people know, the original Black comedy experience on this island has been the Martha's Vineyard Comedy Fest, which is in its 12th year, 13th year, 12 minus COVID. It's produced by Steve Capers and myself. And, we've been doing our thing. We jumped around from small places to now having a home base at the Strand Theater. That is the official show. Now, there's another festival coming. They're calling it a festival of something. And some people are contacting us to find the tickets to that show, and that's not us. So our show runs from now through the 18th. The other show starts on the 17th, and I'll be here that weekend. All my friends are on those shows, and I'm not, trying to disparage anyone for being here. But if you want to support what we've been doing for 12 years, look at Martha's Vineyard ComedyFest.com. Small show at the theater in Oak Bluffs on Circuit Avenue. And if you want to go to both, do that as well.
Well, I have a guest that I'd like to get into one of your shows. He's there this week. Dr. Freddie Haynes is there getting some downtime from all of his recent activity, and I told him that you guys were there, and he's like, "I'm down. Just let me know when and where." So,
You let me
uh,
know and I'll take care of them.
okay, I know you would. I knew you would, and the money is in the mail. So,
Oh,
how are you, Cameron? How's everything going?
I'm feeling pretty good. Got a
That was a
good start to the week.
soprano level voice.
Thank you. I'll talk like this the rest of the show.
I was like, "Oh, I'm good. I'm good. Don't worry about this at all." And then of course, Ned, we know that you're always fine and
Yeah.
brilliant as always. So
We're
uh,
here. All right.
yeah.
Shout out to my son, who won a third place trophy at his karate tournament on my birthday. So my beginning
Okay.
of my birthday was at a karate tournament, and my son
Okay.
won, and came in third place, and I was very excited for him because it was his first trophy ever. And then we went to Chuck E. Cheese with his friends for my birthday, and
Uh-huh.
then we went to me and my wife went to this nice sports bar to watch the fight, and I got very intoxicated.
All right. Well, sounds like a good day was had by all.
Absolutely.
and that
I took
karate, that karate will come in handy at Chuck E. Cheese because I've seen some big fights at Chuck E. Cheese.
Yeah, and having an executive producer who was once an employee at Chuck E. Cheese, I can't wait to hear you guys compare stories. So let us move on to the What You Need to Know newsletter. This is our
What?
Monday. Yeah, our executive producer Yolanda
David don't want to get it.
used to work at Chuck E. Cheese, and maybe she'll come on and tell us about that one day. It won't be tonight. I trust and believe it won't be.
Damon got
Um,
questions. I got questions. Let's go.
Yeah, yeah.
I just want to know if she kept the costume.
Ill, ill, and more ill. So let's move to the What You Need to Know newsletter. This is why we are here to talk about the newsletter. And this is our effort to super serve the African American community with our news, as well as other items from politics to medicine to mental health and wellness to LGBTQ plus and social justice areas of the news. So today, Cameron, you're up and talking about the connection between high summer temperatures and environmental racism. What you got?
Yeah, for the last couple weeks or so, Sybil, we've been comparing temperatures, stating the simple fact that it's hot. It's hot everywhere. It's hot so bad that
How
it's
hot is it?
racistly hot.
Oh,
It's so hot
racist.
that it's racist. And that's the kind of heat that we're dealing with. In certain areas like Colorado, Baltimore, air conditioning is considered a luxury for poor and working class people who are predominantly Black. And as it continues to get hotter, as America's infrastructure starts to crumble, we're realizing that the environment, so long as sustainable housing, so is no, so long as sustainable housing isn't a human right, we're going to be seeing some after effects of environmental racism.
So could you give us a little bit more on that? How does that work?
Yeah. So normally, the planet, Mother Earth, heats up everything as it typically gets hot, and that's fine. Some people have a higher tolerance for heat. But when you sprinkle in some wealth inequality, when you sprinkle in a history of racial violence and systemic inequity, people receiving more than others based on the color of their skin or their income level or where it is that they live, for instance, then you see that certain areas of the United States are hotter than others. You see certain people in certain areas live in places without air conditioning, without proper running water. They don't have access to those things. Not to mention, they're still paying a premium price for rent, and they're not receiving the basic living
So
necessities.
what's being done to change this? What's being done to close this environmental racist gap to help people who are in most need of cool air?
Well, in my opinion, not enough. Our government has been reactionary. Um, in the case of environmental racism, we haven't been ahead of the curve. Joe Biden has released hundreds of millions of dollars of funds to improve infrastructure across the United States to ensure that people have access to proper heating and proper cooling. But that takes even longer to build, and people are beginning to suffer because of it.
They're dying.
Yeah, to
Hmm.
put it
It's not
lightly.
just it's the ultimate suffering and sacrifice. There, a lot of people are dying as a result of this. And one of the things I talked about on the air with Erica Campbell this morning is that this is when it's incumbent upon us to check on our elderly, check on our people that we know may not have all the facilities or the utilities rather to deal with this. And what can we do to provide them? And that box fan in 107-degree heat in Fort Worth, Texas, is not going to cut it.
No.
That's not the answer. So how do we get with organizations? How do we donate if we are able to a utility to some of us have on our electric bills. If you'd like to donate a certain amount every month or as you're paying your bill, would you like to help people who are suffering in the cold or the heat? So you can do that, and that helps them pay their bills. If there are organizations, sometimes churches or other community organizations that say we are efforting to get air conditioning systems and also to get fans. And like I said, the box fans, it was 107 degrees in Fort Worth, Texas today. 107. And in Phoenix, it dipped below its record of 110, but that is deathly hot. And so I think that, if I could suggest to people, let's do our due diligence in finding where we can help people in this situation, and also put the apartment owners and the landlords on Front Street about providing a cooling system for people to live their lives and to not die from the heat. And because it's only going to get worse, we know that
Yeah.
this is the opening salvo.
And
It's
it's
coming.
an endangerment to us as a race of
Yep.
people because ain't nobody trying to do it when you
Right.
hot like that. So now you're not making new black people.
And it always goes back to
Get
sex.
over there. Don't touch me. It's too hot. Right now, that's going to decrease our population, man. We need to. This is a very vital issue that we need to address.
Thank you for putting it so a lot of people can really understand and can feel your pain, Damon. And Juanita, please get to Martha's Vineyard as soon as you possibly can.
And Sybil, I was watching the news this week, and they were talking about the urban areas. So like the cities like Chicago, Dallas, that are with big buildings. New York, they call it urban heat island effect, and it's because
they look great. They look great in the pictures, but the heat that is created from these glass
sun,
structures and the steel
off the ground, the concrete and the steel. So like the temperature is 1 degree, whatever the degree is there, but it's actually hotter in those cities because of the urban heat island effect.
Yep.
Wow.
That's it. And what is being done for the beauty of the cities, but what is being done for the health and welfare of your people.
Yeah.
That's really something to consider. One of the stories that I worked on was in the newsletter had to do with, I don't know if you guys are like me, but driving around and looking at the gas price signs. And sometimes, it's like, I tell the joke that, and it's not a joke, it was actually true when gas prices were just going up minute by minute. I told the story on the Joyner Show that I drove past a gas station. I ran through a drive-through and came back 10 minutes later, and the price had increased 10 cents. In 10 minutes, it had gone up to 10 cents a gallon. And so this is what it's seemingly doing in our cities now. I don't know what you guys are paying, but in Dallas, it's now it's probably around the average that AAA has noted of $3.76 a gallon. That doesn't sound like a lot. No, it doesn't. It does. I get it. But last week I paid, and I'm proud to say I paid $2.98 a gallon.
Huh?
And so in the week we jumped almost 80 cents, right? And it's that way. And in California, the average is $5 a gallon. That's the average. We know our friends in Los Angeles and San Francisco are paying way over the average. So, and why is this? Because the refineries in Texas and Louisiana and other Gulf areas are affected by the heat. It's too hot. The refineries are not able to keep pace with refining the oils for the passage to the gas stations. And so this is why our gas prices, as well as the fact that the OPEC countries are declining to produce as much oil. So these two things working in tandem, but the heat is the killer in terms of our people, but also in holding us back from driving in many cases because the gas prices are still going up. And in some areas where on one side of the street it might be $3.40, on another side of the street it may be $3.75. Well, you make your choice depending on the type of car you have and that kind of thing. But it's all the heat is still working against us.
It's
and
amazing.
then in Chicago, we have a summer additive, they call it. So they increased the price for that. And we haven't seen gas under $4 in the urban areas all summer. Like it's nothing under $4. And if you're in the hood, for some reason, there's a hood tax and it's even more. I'm sure, Cameron, you've traveled the city, so you've seen $4.59, $4.49 on gas. So it's unfortunate. But like you say, what are we to do? That's the question.
Yeah, I mean, it's one thing to try to help people to get air conditioning in their homes and things like that. But how do we get a cheaper gallon of gas?
Oh,
the White House says they're looking at it, but
I mean, best believe the fuel companies are going to hold these gas prices as high as they can now that school is back in session and people are going to be driving more.
Yeah.
They're going to take advantage of these higher gas prices to make billions on just the penny.
And as you say, Damon, wherever the gas stations are, you can look for them to add because of where they are located and trying to make their money that they may be losing through stealing or whatever it is in their stores. That's the sad reality of it. Med, what were you going to say?
No, I was just saying that in my area, it's like in where I live, the gas is $3.45 here, but literally 2 streets down is $3.76, and then last week it was $3.15. So yeah, we have seen a lot of changes lately when it comes to the gas, but it was overnight it jumped 30 cents, and it was crazy to see.
Yeah, I was in Indianapolis last week, and I was looking at the gas, and it was about what we were paying in Dallas at that time. But I can only imagine how it has jumped up as a result of all of this. Among the other stories I'd like to have you take a look at in our newsletter, and that is social justice contributor Coy Malone returns to the California scene of an alleged abuse against another Black woman. This is a story. This is a different story. Same abusive police department, but check this out. What happened? And now a case brought against the police by a Black woman who was in a car and holding her child, and what happened there. Also, CPA to the stars, Katrina Kraft has a column about mortgage points. So check that out. And we ask you to please go to SybilWilkes.com to subscribe to our free newsletter. It is absolutely won't cost you a thing. Just go to our website and subscribe, giving us your name and your email address, and we'll have it in your email box every Monday through Friday morning. So we thank you for that. Let's move a little earlier than normal, Med. I'm excited about your guest. And this is in our What's Really Going On. Your guest today is talking about a topic that we addressed previously. And Ahmed, if you would, and don't make her feel bad about anything, as you've already done.
We're not gonna do that. No, no. This is yes. She is the former alderwoman of the 5th Ward in Evanston, Illinois. She goes by the name of Robin Rue Simmons and has convinced me that reparations is not a pipe dream. Welcome to It's Sybil.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Thank you so much for joining us. I understand you're a former councilwoman, but I still want to give you your props there.
Thank you.
Can you, this is a topic, I went to Northwestern, so knowing Evanston and the politics and things like that, this is something that really caught my attention and energy in looking into it. Evanston was, if not the first city, one of the first to really consider reparations and the parameters that surrounded that idea. Is that right?
That is right. And I just want to thank you for inviting me to share. Evanston actually was the first. In 2019, while I was councilwoman, in collaboration with many other leaders, we passed the nation's first government-funded reparations initiative, specifically and unapologetically for the Black community.
And so how did you convince Ahmed that this was a good thing and that it really could happen? Because you all have put out, I'm sorry, Matt, I don't want to put words in your mouth, so go ahead.
Okay, no, so last week, we had a lovely discussion about reparations, and it was actually Sybil who brought up the fact of what was going on in Evanston and, did some work, and I found you. And so when we talked about it last week, I was saying reparations is a pipe dream. And I always thought about reparations as a slavery based, like it's based off of what happened in slavery. I'm like, well, we'll never be able to figure out who owes what, who deserves what, and henceforth therewith. But with what Ms. Simmons has done, Councilwoman Simmons has done is based off of what happened between the years of 1919 and 1969, which makes a lot of sense to me because that's when a lot of people were redlined and things of that nature, and she based the reparations off of home equity, if you will. So that's when it was like, okay, that makes sense to me. That's what made sense to me. And I'm like, well, if we use this plan going forward, because 1919 to 1969 in all of America was bad for Black people?
Well, I'd like to jump in and say that I still believe in a federal bill for reparations. We have a long road ahead, but I do believe that it
In
is
our lifetime?
Excuse me?
In our lifetime?
I do believe we'll see it in our lifetime. I do believe that. But I do also want to say that local to national is the way to get there. Once we can change enough hearts and minds, once we can prove the concept, once we could show that we've done it in Evanston and now 112 other localities that have been inspired by the work in Evanston, many of which I work with at First Repair, we can show that the city is better for it. There's also public benefit. There were no race riots. We've grown. Hearts and minds of leaders and institutions have changed and so on. But I think where I was able to build a compelling case when we spoke was that reparations is not just for the crimes against Black people of the transatlantic slave trade, but also its legacies and vestiges. There are many anti-Black laws and eras. We can look at Jim Crow era, redlining, mass incarceration, police terror, predatory lending, and local, hyper-local policy that still has Black anti-Blackness baked into current laws in force today. And so while I was serving as a councilwoman, I became even more aware of it than I ever was. I didn't run on reparations. I ran on improving the sort of life circumstances of Black folks. And in 2019, I had the revelation, and my work evolved to it being reparations, not HR 40, but reparations from the city of Evanston for how it harmed Black folks in the city of Evanston. And now other localities can take that same model. They're doing it all across the nation. States are doing it. Important work is happening in the state of California we're all hearing about. But that shows an attainable way, a viable legislative path, a way that we can legislate within our purview as home rule municipality. And it's the first step. Insufficient if it was the only step. Insufficient if we weren't also reaching towards a federal bill. But it is a tangible first step, one that I'm really proud to be a part of the movement.
Can I jump in for a second?
Of course.
All right. First of all, hey, Robin.
Hey, Damon. Tell
Robin
Robin
and
I said, hey, give her a big hug.
I will. I've known Robin for years, a good friend and a brilliant politician and working for the people. But to Ahmed's point about how we couldn't, determine who we should, go after and how to prove it. Here's one thing that I've been saying as a joke for a long time. Can't we at least go after the cotton industry? Because we know that cotton directly benefited from slave labor. I don't care. Everything you can trace slavery directly to cotton. And maybe that's one route we should go after. I mean, in fact, I say we shouldn't even have to pay for anything made of cotton if you're Black. You should just get 2 free cotton everythings. I don't care if it's cotton balls. We shouldn't even have to pay for cotton candy, is what I'm trying to say, because our ancestors paid for that. But it's good to see what you're doing, and I'm very proud of you and your initiative. So thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much, Damon. And you're absolutely right. And I think that's where we have an opportunity to build on our work, that it's not just the federal government or local, it's industries, it's institutions. And so, yes, the cotton industry, yes, the sugar industry, yes, the insurance industry, mortgage companies, banks, and so on. Entertainment, I'm hearing a lot from entertainers about the disparities in compensation packages and this sort of thing. I'm not in the industry, so I can't speak to it with really informed. But yes, we should be looking at institutions, industries, and different levels of government to repair the harm. We should be looking at comprehensive forms of repair, not just a cash check. I really enjoyed the conversation before I got on about, global warming and climate crisis and health and, those disparities. I'm in suburban Chicago in Evanston. It's hot here. I was in Vegas for the fight over the weekend. It was 114 degrees there, right? So just think about Black families there that don't have access to livability and affordable housing and can't pay those high utility bills. That could be a way where regional reparations also include some sort of relief for cooling costs or utility costs or so on. It doesn't have to be just a check. It shouldn't be just a check, in fact, because if we only had a check and we didn't have policy change and we didn't have wraparound other forms of repair, check alone would just be another American stimulus package.
And I think Med, and when he was talking about this last week, Med, correct me if I'm wrong, but there was a question. I like the years that you have, 1919 to 1969, those 50-year period, that affects everyone in those 50 years, and not just those who perhaps came to this country as Jamaican immigrants, as Med's family did. How did you come to that period of time in the council?
So the harm report, or the case for reparations, really informs everything. It informs eligibility. And so in our case in Evanston, we had a zoning law that was enforced in 1919 until fair housing was passed in 68. So between 1919 and 69, the city of Evanston acknowledges it was harmful to the Black community with its zoning laws that were anti-Black. Now, by that time, 69, the whole diaspora was here. So to have a discussion about lineage and if your folks were enslaved in Africa and this sort of thing, I have very strong opinions about that anyway. I am a global Black citizen and don't divide us up in that way. But more looking at the legal framework and how you get to eligibility. The harm should inform the eligibility. The harm should inform the remedy. The harm really prescribes the whole program for reparations because you're repairing that specific harm. It's also important to note that if anyone looking at this begins to advance a local reparations initiative, you will need a legal framework. In Evanston, we've used a narrowly tailored legal framework, which gives us a viable path where we can withstand legal challenges against us, which we've had. And the reason why we're solid in dispersing and giving out reparations is because we've had a thoughtful team around the matter, and we have sort of moved beyond the apology and looked. As an entrepreneur myself, I look at SMART goals for everything I do: specific, measurable, attainable, time-bound, relevant. And so we looked at reparations in the same way so that we could get dollars out of the door and not just have a ceremonial sort of apology.
So, Khameron, I want you to jump in here. I do have another question. How much have you put out? Has the city, not you, but has the city of Evanston put out in terms of reparations to those people affected?
Well, fortunately, we've just started really accelerating our disbursement. We were stuck at 16 only for a long time at $25,000 each. We had a lot of learning to do, staff capacity and so on. And so we far exceeded that. We're closer to about 90 now. Now, Evanston's a small city. We have a small Black community. Those numbers would be challenging in a larger city.
Sure.
But we're closer to 90 now. And we started with $10 million from recreational cannabis sales tax. We've also added an additional $10 million from real estate transfer tax. And I'm committed to finding $100 million more. And so the long answer is what I just gave. The short answer is not enough, but it is still the only initiative that is dispersing reparations.
That's awesome.
I do want to say real quick that when the learning curve that you talked about, because you told me when we had our discussion about taxes, federal, state taxes, making sure that the money that you give out is not taxed or they're not affected in any kind of way when you do this. So I understand that the process that this is going through is going to take some time.
Thank you for understanding. Everyone isn't so
especially when they're waiting for that money, you know.
That's right.
If I was waiting for the money, I would probably be asking a lot more questions. I'm not gonna lie.
Let me tell you. And so I still live on the block, right? I haven't left the neighborhood I grew up in, and I can't go to the grocery store without folks. Where is my check? You know, I heard Miss Sue got her check. Where's my check? I'm number.
Oh no.
So they put fire under my butt to make sure that I am, working as quickly as possible along with my colleagues on the reparations committee.
Khameron, you want to jump in here?
Oh, sure. Robin, I think we all can agree that reparations is one of the most divisive issues among Black people ever. And I always like to make a point of saying that all of our favorite Black people, surprisingly, aren't for reparations as far as cash payouts are concerned. Former President Obama, even Oprah, And so I would like for you to share with our listeners why this, especially those who exist a little bit further center or to the right of others, why cash payouts is the way that we should go to improving equity, and why this notion of structural reparations in form of incremental laws that only perpetually raise glass ceilings is the answer. Why cash money?
So I can't argue cash, because I think
Cash
very
is
strongly without cash, without the other peripheral policy reform, new laws and programs, institutional change, that cash won't get us there. So I feel very strongly that a comprehensive approach to reparations, starting with policy change. We still have racist policy on our books today. It may look like a zoning law. It may look like something census tract based or something along those lines, but there's still racism built into our policy today. And so there are 5 components to reparations under international law standards, and that's what we look at. And the first is actually cessation, guarantee of non-repetition of anti-Black laws. What we talk about most is compensation and restitution, a check, a grant, something like that. But there's also satisfaction. And that means restoring the dignity to our people, acknowledgements, markers, Black history museums, and so on, holidays. Juneteenth passing as a federal holiday is a form of reparations. These are actions that get us closer to that North Star of a federal policy. And lastly, there's rehabilitation. And that's looking at our being, our wellness. We're all traumatized just waking up Black. The Black experience is traumatizing. And then on top of that, we've inherited trauma from our ancestors through transgenerational epigenetics. And so we're really looking at a comprehensive approach to reparations. I'm not the cash only opponent, so you have to get somebody else to argue that. I think it's insufficient. It will not satisfy repair, but it is a form of repair that I do support along with others.
We do have a question. Yolanda, can you set up there for us? Cassandra on Facebook says, how will the people know they are eligible for the reparations? Which was my next question. Yeah.
Well, this is specific to Evanston. So you have to have been an Evanston resident between 1919 and 1969 or be a direct descendant. So I qualify. 6 generations of my family has been Black Evanstonians, 5th Ward specifically. But this is not beyond Evanston. Other communities are coming up with their own criteria. Some are using a lineage approach. You have to prove that your ancestors were enslaved in America. How they're going to do that, I have no clue. That's not my body of work. But that is an approach that some initiatives are taking.
And so, when Khameron was talking about why the money, why was this the form of reparations? You go back to 40 acres and a mule. That was a form of monetary trade. But how did you come to? How many different areas were considered for reparations? And can you give us an idea how you finally reached that decision for that amount of money?
Sure. So it was a sort of an endless list of recommendations that came through the community. We had to look at really what was in our purview as a government. Some of the things were cases against Northwestern University. Go Cats, but Northwestern University.
Well, they've got enough problems now, so yeah.
I know, it's unfortunate. And my daughter is alumni from Northwestern. So some were against other industries, healthcare systems, and so on. So we pared down what was specific to the city of Evanston. And this is information, feedback from the Black community. And then we looked at our harm report. What did Evanston do specifically that was anti-Black? Well, we found that there were zoning laws that stripped away wealth and opportunity from the Black community. Then those two things paired with our Corporation Counsel Nick Cummings' legal framework on a narrowly tailored framework said that our remedy needs to be in direct correlation to the harm. And so we need to have a remedy or a reparations benefit that builds wealth through home equity, since that's where the harm was. So that's how we started with our first. We do have two other priorities in the legislation, which is R21 2619, and that's economic development and educational initiatives. And we are continuing to work on those remedy proposals.
I'm afraid we have come to the end of this segment. Med, do you want to close this out? And I just want to give you my thanks, former Councilwoman Evanston, Illinois, Robin Simmons. Thank you so much for joining us. And Med?
Robin, I just think I want to kind of close it out because you did mention that you are working on getting more money because it was like a $10 million at first, and then another 10, and you were on another 100 million. So when you have $25,000 going to the people, whether through home equity or for their home or cash payout, when you gather more money, there's not going to be an increase of money going out to people, or
can we get back in line?
Right, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, I'm like, if we get another 100 million, well, 25,000 was nice, but we see you got a little bit more money to hand out, if you will,
to help a brother out.
So that will be determined by the committee and approved by the council. Right now, we started with 640 applications on our first round. So we have those to fund. The thought is that we can repair more areas, not that we just keep at, okay, so now you get 50,000, 100,000. We can look at a more comprehensive approach. What other types of remedies or repairs can we do so we can get a little bit closer to full repair, understanding that without a federal bill it's going to be difficult. But yes, so we will have to reopen applications, and it will always be Evanston specific. So all of those people that reach out from different states, this will always be Evanston specific. What you can do is contact your council person and have them get in touch with me at First Repair, and I would be happy to support them through a process for their own city.
And how can people follow you at First Repair?
So please look at us at firstrepair.org is our website. You can also see a really great look into our work at documentary. It's currently on Prime and Apple TV and PBS. It's called The Big Payback. Erica Alexander and Whitney Dow are the directors of that film. And follow us on all of our social media. We're on every social media page, as well as everyone is invited to a monthly strategy session where we share regional reports on what's happening in the movement. We have a content expert come and give a presentation. This last week, it was actually Rhyme Fest, who's a Grammy-winning writer, and he spoke to cultural currency, how our culture is currency to be used. This month, we have Reverend Dr. Michael Neighbors. All are welcome. We also have an annual symposium that happens in Evanston. It happens in November of this year, but follow our website for those details. A lot more exciting projects that are coming, including a connection between hip hop and the reparations movement and political rap, how it sort of informed my political thought. But anyway, follow us at firstrepair.org.
Thank you, Robin. We appreciate it. Robin Simmons joining us today.
Thank you,
and hope you'll come back again. Damon, I know that our time is limited with you. You got a little show to do. First of all, give people an idea.
Not a little show.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Give people an idea of how they can get ticket information if they are planning to come to Martha's Vineyard.
Just go to marthasvineyardcomedyfest.com. Everything's there. Or to go to damonwilliamscomedy.com, as you see on the screen. And if you're not coming over to the Vineyard, there's also a streaming option that will be available soon. Awesome. I'll give you the details between now and next week. So just go to marthasvineyardcomedyfest.com. Check that out. And I do have to run. I ride my bike to work over here. So jump on it's pretty cool. Jump on the bicycle and go to the theater. And I'm the host, so I go up first. So thank you all. And I'm so glad you all brought Robin in. Robin was married to Mark Simmons, who is a comedian that I grew up with. He, I, and Leon Rogers all went to St. Margaret's of Scotland together. So I've been knowing her forever. And she was so knowledgeable and so articulate and passionate about it. So good find, Ahmed. Khameron, your stories are always in depth. Thank you for looking out for the people. And Sybil, thank you for your beautiful platform for us all. I'm about to go drink and joke. I'll talk to y'all later.
Come on now. Don't drink and bike.
That's right. That's right. Have somebody put the bike on a car and get you
Right,
home
and
safely.
ride you home, man.
So guys, looking at the trending comments or the trending news, this just happened just about an hour or so ago. Donald Trump was indicted again on criminal charges for a third time in 4 months, this time arising from efforts to overturn his 2020 U.S. election defeat. The Department of Justice indictment accused Trump of pursuing ways to discount legitimate votes in the 2020 presidential election and in the presidential race and subvert the election itself through three criminal conspiracies, according to a spokesperson. Even Jack Smith spoke today to put an exclamation point on this indictment. Among the charges, a conspiracy to defraud the U.S. by using dishonesty, fraud, and deceit to obstruct the nation's process of collecting, counting, and certifying the results of the presidential election. Also, a conspiracy to impede the January 6, 2021 congressional proceeding where the election results were certified. And so he's trying to stop that. And also a conspiracy against the right to vote and have the vote counted. So this is the third indictment. We're still waiting for more to come down, but this is a relationship to what he announced 2 weeks ago on his website that he had a letter from the Justice Department that he was being targeted. And this is the one that many people believe are going to involve members of his administration, his inner circle. And so we'll wait to see how this all falls out. He's going to have to be in court, show up in court in Washington, D.C. on Thursday.
Look,
surprised anyone?
I'm not surprised. Why would I be surprised? The man's done all this stuff, and I'll be surprised if he goes to jail for any of this stuff. Because I'm just in my head, I'm like, if you get off 4 times, 4 different indictments, you get off all 4 times, I don't know what else to say. Leave that man alone. You might as well, because all you're doing is wasting your time.
Well, I'm not in favor of leaving him alone.
That man said I could kill somebody in the middle of Times Square and get off. He wasn't playing.
Yeah,
he was not joking. He was dead. It's insane that this is going on, and all I'm thinking in my head is he's gonna get off. It's like it is what it is.
And he certainly has the backup to help him get off and to bring harm to other people. I submit that if he doesn't get off, then it's the repercussions of that are going to be heartbreaking. If you thought January 6th was bad.
I always feel like if he gets off, all he does is feel more entitled to do what he's been doing. That's all that's going to happen. He can be more empowered to do what he has been doing, and he knows he's going to get off because no one is really going at him the way I guess that they're supposed to. It's crazy.
Well, I think that Jack Smith was just trying to do, cross all the T's and dot the I's and do everything so that there was nothing that his attorneys could come back and say, you forgot, or there's this or that that's not in there. It's going to be interesting to see how this all plays out. Khameron, what do you think?
Oh,
or are they coming for you, somebody now?
Yeah, I'm like it's an ambulance going by.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm like downtown. The street is so loud, but yeah, I just hope that powers that be just stay on them. Keep making them sweat.
Yeah. And
this man is Teflon, man.
He really is. And our astrologist are to the show has said that he is not going to be touched by this. She said he is a Teflon man, and his
I don't believe it.
His birth sign indicates that he's not going to pay the price for
People
all
2 impeachments, 2 impeachments, 4 indictments.
People will riot.
Absolutely. Who gets away with 2 impeachments and 4 indictments?
He'll be more prolific than Reagan and Nixon combined. No way.
Wow,
man.
Not prolific in a positive sense, but definitely.
No.
Yeah.
Just it's just crazy.
So, Med, I just want you to bring your blood pressure down a little bit. And because you're amped up here, I am going to mention the story that you wanted to talk about. Not enough beans and not enough meat in the Taco
Uh-huh.
Bell Mexican pizza, which is, for full disclosure, my favorite purchase from Taco Bell.
Me
I
too.
found the Mexican pizza works for me, and a man in Brooklyn
Come on now.
claims that the chain has accused the chain Taco Bell of false
Uh-huh.
advertising, saying that the Mexican pizza he purchased contained not enough beef, not enough
Hmm.
beans, half the
Uh-huh.
amount of the beans and beef advertised online and in store. And so he is
It is.
asking others to come to the church of Taco Bell, or come to the court against Taco Bell, and
Yeah.
join his class action suit against, yo quiero, no quiero Taco Bell.
That's what I'm saying. Sybil Wilkes, if you look at the Mexican pizza when we get it, it's pretty flat. It's
It
pretty
is.
flat.
It's very thin. It's very
Very
thin.
thin. Whenever you see a
Mhm.
picture of it, you see all that meat, and it's about raised the ball
Yeah.
about this
Yeah.
much. So I think he
Mhm.
got a case. Let's also talk about all these other false advertisements that are out there, Sybil Wilkes. Let's talk
Okay.
about the cardboard they put underneath the meat to make that double quarter
To
pounder
lift it
sit
up.
upright. Yeah, you sit it upright. Yeah, we know your little tricks. They put them out there years ago. We know you put glue in as milk with the cereal. That's how it floats at the top. It doesn't sink to the bottom. We also know about the cheesecake. It ain't cheesecake. It's like
Yeah.
wax.
Tell the truth, shame the
You know
devil,
when you
man.
put it out there. It's all false advertisement. All of it's false. I've never seen a burger actually sit up on anything. Just by itself.
Right.
When you get in
Right.
the wrapper, it's like vacuum sealed
Unless it's
almost.
unless it's good burger, then Keenan and Kel would never give you a fake burger. I'm sorry.
Right,
Absolutely
Yeah.
not. Yes, with an orange soda. Amen.
Right.
But I'm with them. Fight the good fight, my man. Fight the
But
good
the
fight.
Mexican pizza,
Mm.
but I like the thinness because it doesn't make me feel like I'm, eating, a real pizza. But it does not live up to the advertising, and I agree with you
At
on
all.
that. Yeah.
At all. Not at all. I'm with him.
Oh,
Mm.
I'll fight
okay.
with
All
him
right.
if needs
Cam,
be.
I know you are a dedicated health food and healthy action guy, so this really probably has no room in your headspace, does it?
No,
No.
Taco Bell is like vegetarian paradise. I love Taco Bell.
That is very true.
Vegetarian
Yeah.
vegetarian paradise. I did
Because that
not know
Mexican
Yeah.
that.
pizza
Taco
can give you
Bell.
all beans.
Yeah. Taco Bell is like the best vegetarian fast food ever, actually.
You're
Not
absolutely
not
right on that.
Yeah. And
So
I think that,
what's your favorite dish?
black bean crunch wrap supreme
That's
with
my wife's
black
favorite.
nacho fries. Yeah. Yep.
Yep.
Nachos Bel Grande are pretty good too.
She goes put
Wow. Okay.
jalapenos in that bad boy and tomatoes.
Ooh,
Mm-hmm.
ooh, ooh. Speaking of bad boys or bad girls, entertainer Lizzo is in hot water after being sued for allegedly pressuring and weight shaming her former dancers. An attorney for one of the
Wait,
dancers
what?
said, yeah, allegations
Oh yeah.
against
You got to read
her
this, Med.
are stunning in nature. The lawsuit
It's really
filed
bad.
in Los Angeles a couple of weeks ago. Plaintiffs Crystal Williams, Ariana Davis, and Noel Rodriguez claimed they were victims of sexual, racial, and religious harassment, assault, false imprisonment, and disability discrimination, in addition to other allegations. Lizzo, who is here referenced and by her real name, Melissa Vivian Jefferson, along with Charlene Quigley, who is Lizzo's dance captain and judge on her Amazon series, Lizzo's Watch Out for the Big Girls, are named as defendants. The lawsuit details a night out in Amsterdam in February, during which the dancers and Lizzo visited a club in the red light district called Bananen Bar, a location at which patrons are allowed to interact with nude performers. This is the red
Okay.
light district in Amsterdam. There,
Already
they
sketched.
say
Go ahead.
Davis was pressured into interacting with a performer after repeatedly insinuating she did not want to. Lizzo also coerced a security guard to take off his pants on stage. And elsewhere in the suit, the singer is accused of having a toxic work environment. A few instances, she allegedly accused dancers of not performing up to par, repeatedly accused the dancers of drinking alcohol, before the shows, even though the dance cast had never partaken in such a practice. And so they have come together with this lawsuit, was made public today, and she's in a lot of trouble. I know we're out of time, but I just want to.
Sounds like a lot.
And weight shaming the women that she has become a goddess of, of a proponent of women being proud of their bodies and who they are.
How is Lizzo weight shaming? She must. You know what? There must have been a smaller chick on in one of the dancers, and she said you called her a skinny,
yeah,
and that's what it was.
And maybe this was her dance captain. I don't know, but they're both in the lawsuit, and maybe it's Lizzo. But you hear stories, and so I'm not overall surprised, because the way you represent yourself in public is not often the way things happen in real life. But it's really, if you are for the big girls, I hope that this can be worked out and continue to stand for the big girls. It's really.
That red light district piece right there, that's what's gonna hit her hard.
That's what's gonna mess her up right there. The actions with the banana, it was just I couldn't
I didn't you didn't
No.
okay, you didn't bring that up. I didn't read that part. I need to go look at this.
No.
There was a banana involved. Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
Yeah. Let's get to some good news in entertainment. Serena Williams held an elaborate gender reveal, and this was a post to her YouTube page. She has revealed that her second pregnancy, she's having another girl. Baby Alex is going to be a big sister to a little sister, and so I guess it'll be a Venus and Serena duo again. Perhaps,
that'd be
between
kind of
the
cool.
two girls. Yeah, very cool.
She wanted a girl too.
Yeah, she said, "I know nothing about raising boys." She grew up with all sisters in her house.
All sisters.
And so, that's easy work. And her husband now knows what it's like to raise a little girl. And so, and she said, "I got no blue anywhere in the house. It's all pink. It's all Barbie. It's all, all of this stuff." So, good for them. And I hope that they have a happy and healthy little girl. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Khameron, what's the best advice you could give to parents having grown up, or give to other big brothers growing up with all sisters? Like, maybe you've had to do this with a younger cousin or something, but like, man, I don't know nothing about growing up with girls, and you have done that with some very strong women in your life. What's the best advice or words of advice you could give?
Always be a solid, united front in public.
Oh, nice.
Always. You can fuss, fight, and argue when you all get home, but when you're out in public, you have to show that you will protect and care for these women no matter what, bar none, whatever it is that they do.
That's
awesome.
Great advice.
That is great
great
news.
advice.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Can I ask a question before we go?
Of course.
To Khameron?
Of course.
Okay.
Of course.
Khameron, what is there's another story that we did today, Sybil, about JB Pritzker, the governor, allowing non-US citizens to be police officers. That passed, and there's a lot of people that are upset about that.
But there are a lot of people.
I want to know your thoughts are on that, Khameron. You know what? Hold on. Do you know about it, right?
Yeah. I was hoping that we weren't going to talk about it.
Really?
Well, let me just say this, because Khameron, if you don't want to discuss it, but they did this during World War I and World War II, where people from foreign lands joined the military to fight for this country, even though they were not yet U.S. citizens. And so a lot of people are pointing to that, and I say it's a different time, but it worked then, and perhaps it will help those who are trying to expedite their joining and becoming U.S. citizens.
Yeah, quite frankly, there's a personnel shortage out here.
That's what I was going to say.
And I mean,
beggars can't be choosers, baby.
Yeah, I'm not rushing to be CPD, so
it's going to be interesting to see how this all falls into place.
Just don't.
It might play out better for Black people if you have more immigrants doing it.
Yeah, arriba los manos. Okay. You know,
Let's close out with our daily jewel and inspiration. Experience can get you in the door. Your confidence can light up the room. All right, two light room lighter uppers. We appreciate you guys joining us today, and you all good luck to. I'm sorry, break a leg, Damon, with your little comedy shows. I used to do that to the comedians all the time. To your big comedy show in Martha's Vineyard. And do, if you are there or you have someone in the area, do encourage them to go and support. Absolutely. Thanks, guys. We'll see you again soon. Thank you, everyone, for watching. And we look forward to seeing you again soon. Take care. Aloha.
Yeah, next week we back.